Welcome to the MTD Podcast, sponsored by Interco Special Steels and Alloys. Today I'm joined by 3 special guests, but we've got lots more guests joining us throughout this podcast. Firstly, at the end, Marcel from Shunk. Welcome to the MTD Podcast.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Nice to be here.
Ewan, I met you today.
Yep.
Welcome to the MTD Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And the one and only Mark Dedman.
Hi, Gio. How you doing? Good day?
It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been brilliant. So today we've been doing live streams on the Dugard stand, the Interco stand, our own stand, the Shunk stand. We want to find out how that went, Marcel, and Chester Machine Tools stand. That was our final live stream of MACH 2022. Marcel, I want to start with you, really. I've known you for about 10 years.
Yep.
That's unfortunate for you, Marcel.
Been a pleasure every single minute of it, okay? Don't do that to Jill.
You haven't changed one single bit. You've put a little bit of timber on, but not a lot.
Just a little bit.
That's rude.
But you have not changed one single bit.
Can you tell him about the feet situation and how he's been moaning about his feet and his shoes all day?
I never moaned. I never moaned. She's my hero, she's.
Yeah.
Well, she's dropped me in it a lot of times. She's a menace. Marcel. Marcel, how did the live stream go? What new products were you exhibiting at MACH? And have you had a good MACH 2022? And how important was it for you?
Okay, in no particular order then. MACH was really good. We had an outstanding football through. Like the amount of inquiries that we had was really good. The quality of the inquiries we had was outstanding. No regrets here. Well worth doing the show.
I've seen a lot of footballs around as well.
Yeah, for the special ones. We still have them, so if you want them.
Can I have one for my kids?
Yeah, you can have 3.
Thank you.
You keep making them.
Should have bought a TV video.
What we brought to the show was we were trying to join this. Like, Shunk makes way too many things for us to go through, but it's anything from the machine table to the robot arm, right? So what we try to do is show people and hopefully show the capacity of what would be machine tending, right? So what kind of workholding do you need? What kind of automation do you need? How automation blends with CNC? And the one particular thing that drew attention, the 2 things that really drew attention today was the lean automation, which is automation without the robot. It's not something you should keep without the robot for too long, in our opinion. You should start with that and then bring the robot afterwards. But it's a great first step. Like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, you have a VMC automated, cutting parts 3-4 hours non-stop. Great stuff. And the other one, it's a simple little media coupling, but solves a big problem. So if you're going to automate a machine, add to the table. If you don't have it, it's an expensive retrofit. And we have a little valve that goes into the rubber wrist and feeds all your pneumatics on the table. That simple thing proved to be a very big star of the show.
Marcel, you're well renowned for the grippers. Shunk, a household name for grippers. But the portfolio of work-holding products that you've got under your umbrella of products is an outstanding range. One thing that really caught my attention, and it wasn't actually at MACH 2022, it was at the Fanuc Open House earlier this year. You've got a product that can actually automate your 3-axis machine without a robot. Can you explain this?
Yeah,
this
that was the
product?
5,000 thing I was talking about. That's the lean automation. So basically what you have is a pneumatic vise on your machine table. You use a little bit of your table for your billets and your finished parts to go to. And then all you have is a gripper, our standard off-the-shelf gripper adapter. The gripper plus an adapter, that goes into a tool holder. The through coolant from your spindle will open and close that gripper. So you bring your spindle, the spindle becomes a robot. Spindle will now load the billets into the vise, cut, take it away, bring another one in.
Ingenious. You can't believe that's never been invented before. It's such a great innovation. We've just had a comment come in to say that the producers have been watching your live stream, really thought that was a very innovative product, really liked it.
Can I ask a question, Marcel? I mean, when you've got a portfolio the size that Shunk have,
11,000.
What do you choose to bring? Is it new products?
It's the best solution for what's going on, right? So not necessarily everything that we have is new. The lean automation, funny enough, is an old hat for us. It's been going for years. We just never put together in the way that we did today, right? So all the elements we have in there are 5-6 years old. It's consolidated tech. We just don't use it. or don't give it to people in a nice little digested way. So like these things, like 5K, you in, done. Right? We didn't do that before. So that's not new. The new coupling valve is new. We have some high-tech stuff that is incredibly boring to go through for compensating units on the road, or if you're ever going to, that is there, and then we can go in depth in that.
Brilliant. Good
but
stuff.
it's just following the trend and trying to see the problems and address those.
Yeah.
So automation is certainly a big thing at MACH 2022. And staying on the theme of automation, I was on the Open Mind stand this morning, going through some of the videos that we're going to be filming on some of their components for Interco, and I bumped into you, Ewan. Now you're the co-founder of Q-Hub. Now automation delivers itself in so many different forms. Now, can you tell our audience a little bit about what you do and the kind of automation that you provide?
Yeah, so I mean, automation is fundamental, obviously, in manufacturing. Your machine tools and the great work that they do. But often where it's not being captured fully is when it comes to all your compliance and quality aspects in the same way. There's always a cost associated with that. We know the cost of manufacturing, downtime, cycle times and material and all those kind of things. But when somebody makes something wrong, there's a cost in rework, a cost in that machine tool now being reused for something it wasn't planned to. What about the cost in investigation? That's somebody's time taken to do that. There's somebody else's time in the office to reproduce paperwork. There's a cost to that paperwork. There's a cost of filling it out. All the compliance requirements, especially for dealing with customers such as Airbus and Rolls-Royces, that takes time, that costs companies business. So what we do is automate that to reduce the cost.
So are you working, you said Airbus there, are you working with larger SMEs or is it open to smaller subcontractors as well?
It's the way that our software is built is it's fully customizable, and we've got solutions for your SME. Our smallest customer has 6 people in the business. Our largest customer at the moment has 200, but we can go up to your sort of 2,000, 10,000.
Now, you're the founder or co-founder of the company.
Yeah.
When did you start the business?
So started about 3 years ago. We officially launched last year, but MAC's really going to be our catalyst going forward.
Wow, congratulations. I mean, to start a business only 3 years ago in the midst of a pandemic, and now for you to be exhibiting at MAC. Where did this, is it a unique product, and where did the idea come from?
I mean, my background's manufacturing, apprentice trained, CNC, machinist for a long time. I was probably the worst person to fill out job cards and paperwork, and I know how frustrating it is. So we're trying to cut that cost from companies, reduce that time, and just make it easier.
That's a big theme, isn't it, Gio? I mean, as you know, we travel the globe interviewing lots of people, and it's amazing how many products are actually manufactured or made or designed or thought of from ex-engineers. Or I can't do this, but I can go to the next level.
Or I hate doing this, so I want to.
A problem always starts with a problem. It always starts with, how can we do this better? How can we improve the process? How can we become more efficient? I mean, Marcel, it obviously lends itself to end users, but say for an organisation like Shunk, as an example, would that kind of system lend itself to a sales organisation?
Yeah, I mean, there's CRMs that are out there, but there's a lot of things that they don't do that affect the rest of the organisation. Training, the interaction between the shop floor and the office. So that's why our system does really, really well.
Marcel, any thoughts on this?
It's a bit hard for me to get all the things that you're saying. So touch on the product again for me, please. So
anything in terms of automation, if you've got forms, if you've got documentation, tasks that you need, shop floor personnel.
So what are we talking, MRP, ERP?
It's sort of like an ERP and MRP, but completely unlike an MRP and ERP.
Ewan, right? Could you speak into the mic a little bit?
Sorry. Like an MRP and ERP, but we cover all of your quality aspects in the most efficient way.
All right, so you're just linking the whole thing up digitally
Together, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when you look at some of the, can you give us some calculus of some savings that some of the companies have saved by using the software?
So for a lot of companies that we're working with, we've typically saved about 75% in terms of their quality and compliance requirements.
It's a massive saving,
that's a quick payback then, isn't it?
We want to find out more at MTDCNC about your products, and after the exhibition, hopefully we can meet up.
Talk to you guys more.
Marcel, can you give our audience a little bit more of an indication about your business, how it's evolved since you've taken over, and the continuous evolution and where you want to go, really?
So Schunk now, we have these very mature work holding. You started by saying that people know our automation. Traditionally, we are a work holding company, jaws, chucks, that kind of stuff. But that's a solidified and evolving. Automation is taking a front place, of course, with mechatronics coming strong, and for us now the big growth is coming from e-mobility. So we're working with the likes of Grobb, which actually took a surprising, nobody was saying, positioning, making motors for e-mobility, and we're working closely with them and other companies to address that. So we're doing now battery manufacturing, battery testing, we're involved with all of that, and we have some very interesting things going in composites as well for automation with these weird looking gripper that we have. So it's all this new tech. And again, it's not necessarily new stuff, it's new applications for old stuff.
Marcel, it's been an absolute pleasure having you both on the podcast. I wish we had a little bit more time, but for anyone watching this podcast, there's still one more day left at MACH. So if you're in the area, come and visit Marcel or Ewan on their stands to find out a little bit more about their products and their businesses. Thank you very much for joining us on the Exhibitors Podcast.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Yeah. Let the other guys come.
The stand is very busy today, so there's a lot of people at the bar. I can see Martin Page is here already. I'm not sure if he's going to join us later. I'm not sure. Hopefully he will. He didn't join us yesterday, but hopefully we can get him on the podcast today. Our next guest, Emil from Grobb Machine Tools. Welcome to the MTD Podcast.
Thank you for welcoming here. We're so friendly. I love to be at MTDCNC.
All the way from Germany, I might add. And
our second guest, Darren Granger from I-Spec. I'm sure by now you're becoming, he's more famous than us. I can just hear Lindsay in the background.
I'm sure people are sick to death.
You were supposed to have brought your guitar today to play the Swarf and Chips music. That would have been absolutely amazing. But hopefully next time that will be that will
all blame Paul. Don't worry.
Let's start with you, Emil. First time I've met you.
Before you say that, I mean, I've spent some fantastic time with Emil. I've visited Grobb in Mindelheim. I've seen Grobb making Grobb. I mean, the factory is one of the largest, if not the largest factory in Europe making machine tools. But for these guys that maybe don't know Grobb, tell us a little bit about the background of the company, Emil.
So we're working now 95 years in total machine building. We're building close to 90% of the machine by ourselves. So we are not only a manufacturer, we really build parts like we do. So we do stuff. We're really machining parts, and we have a shop floor. So that's a bit different than to the other competitors. And very important to say is in the back we've been in the combustion engine, the #1 supplier for machines in the automotive industry internationally. But we had to change now because of electrification, and now successfully we did.
I tell you what, you go to one of the sections where you've got the big cells that are making lots of engine parts. I tell you what, I've never seen anything like it, and that's because I think you have machines over here in BMW and also Ford in the UK and many other manufacturers.
Yes, Jaguar, Ford. Only in Japan, on the island, there are two companies don't have Grobb machines in the world.
Oh wow!
I mean, like for me, the growth of Grobb machine tools in the UK over the last few years has been astounding. And as you mentioned, in the past, I would have only have associated a Grobb machine tool for the car industry, but now it seems to be kind of going into all industries, even small subcontract engineering shops where historically you wouldn't have associated a Grobb for that type of machine shop.
Exactly, everybody can be part of our, let's say, technology. We do not focus any branch. It's depending on the product and the process itself, and we want to make technology.
It's a very innovative machine, if you like. It's quite unique to have a horizontal fifth axis machine tool. What kind of sets your machine tool apart from your competitors, in your opinion?
we build the machines completely individual on the customer's requirement and on the customer's interest, and focused on the process and on the part he wants to machine.
Darren, just out of interest, I mean, I know you, for many people listening to this podcast, tell the audience exactly what you do and what you make, because we know it, but they won't.
Well, we're a general subcontractor. We make anything that will come through the door that we can put on the machines. We do a hell of a lot into the rock crushing industry and the hydraulic industry primarily, but there can be machine builders, there can be people walking through the door to some maintenance jobs and anything that we can.
Now I know you said to me earlier on that it's always dangerous walking around Mac. It's you tend to get your wallet out and buy a new machine. But do you know the Grobb technology on the machines?
Yeah, I've been following Grobb on your social media channels and various other things for a while, and it's up on the wish list. A little way away, but it's on the wish list.
Darren, you need to speak up a little bit more because I can't hear you from this side of the bench as the bar's getting so busy. But we've just had a comment come in saying we can't wait to see Shunk at IMTS this year, so that's a nice little comment for Marcel there. Darren, I've had the pleasure of visiting your facility many of times. Now, you really invested heavily in automation a long time ago, and can you tell our audience why this was and how this has revolutionised your business?
Yeah, I mean, like everybody, we've struggled to get skilled engineers, and to a point now we're struggling to find people even wanting to come into the industry. So to try and keep up, we've looked at the automation. We've put in, I mean, bar feeds we've been doing for a long time, but the robo jobs to load the lathes and the mills, pallet changes, and really it's kept my staffing levels quite low to the amount we put out. So much so we grew about 30% this year on last, and if we look at our biggest year, which was about 3 years ago, we're 16% higher than that. So it's making a big difference.
One thing that Grobb invest, I don't know, you normally take on around about, is it 200 apprentices each year in your training? Young people?
Yeah, around about,
yeah. I mean, it's amazing because when I went into the walking around Mindelheim, and you see all the TAS Centre with all your fantastic machines, some beautiful pieces of metal that you've actually machined. Then you go into the training room where the guys are learning a lathe, then they go to something else, then it's about automation. It's really sort of bringing your factory into the 21st century in reference to investing in people.
Yeah, education is one of the big parts that we always take care about a lot. Background is you need highly educated people. Exactly, I can follow. Technology is going further, but we need more people who are really highly educated to run with it and go with that.
I mean, the automotive industry is effectively fully automated. You could not produce a car without automation because you wouldn't be able to make money on that car because of the costs. So to reduce the costs, you have to automate. And your machine tools have been proven in such a demanding environment over the years. Now you're kind of bringing that solution out to all the other industries, which maybe in the past, such as the aerospace industry, where you're doing lower volume work, but it repeats, and you're automating that with your solutions.
You explained exactly in the best sentence in total why we are now so upcoming in the market, because the machines are exactly made for automation concepts. You can have it standalone, but afterwards you can combine it with a robot, with a pallet storage, or multiply the machines and combine them together. Exactly, this is our key competence.
And I think when I visited, I think the automation part of Grobb was starting to take off a little bit more. By having your own automation, you can control the whole process, I suppose, can't you?
Exactly, and we build every machine, every project completely individual. That's a highlight, but also it's a crap, so to say, because on the one side we can follow up the customer's requirement, but on the other side we have to handle every part of the machine individually, day by day. Yeah, it's a hard ride, but
I mean, I admire your machine, so I love the unique aspect to it, and I like how it's evolving all the time, and I like now as well. I mean, MACH 2022, every machine tool supplier is trying to automate their machine tools, and I think also the end users that are visiting MACH are actually asking, well, I want to buy that machine tool, but what automation solution can you offer? In the past, maybe that wasn't always the case, and as an example, Darren, forward-thinking people like yourselves have thrived through the pandemic because you were automating, before the pandemic, and every time I see you, you've bought a new machine tool, but one thing that really stood out during the pandemic was the people that hadn't automated were really struggling, and I think that it is key now in conjunction with Industry 4.0 and some of these new emerging technologies that that people invest in these new technologies, and it is the secret to success in my opinion.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, as I say, over the years, it's over 30 years I've been in the industry, and the way that Europe has really embraced automation a lot better than we have. We're still on catch-up to a certain extent, but the other thing I wanted to mention is that you've got an open house coming up. So obviously, if anybody in the UK is actually looking to see your technology at its best, I think you've got something like 25 machines that you're showing.
I think round about 25 or a little bit more. It's the all overview about all machines and all technologies that we can provide. And of course, a big issue or a big task is the Industry 4.0, the digitalization project, because it takes care about all the environment around the machine, supporting the operators, make their life more smarter, more easier, help to get the automated transportation system like AGVs, which go around autonomously. So we talk always about the future, but we are the witnesses. The future is now, and we need more people, even if they're not standing in a classical way in front of the machine, but the total environment gets much more complicated than the people ever can expect.
Emil, what's the dates of the open house?
It's from the 4th until the 8th of May in Mindelheim.
Emil, Darren, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really, really sorry that we've run out of time. It's been great to get your thoughts.
Yeah.
Darren, for people that don't know of I-Spec, you should do, because you're on our channel all the time.
He's a fantastic
He also
guy.
makes guitars. Check out the guitars that he makes.
Yeah.
Grobb Machine Tools, I'm sure you've heard of them. They've got a fantastic stand at MACH 2022, so you can still visit them tomorrow or check out their products on the website.
And all the videos that we've done at Mindelheim, this guy got the highest views as well. Well done, Emil.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Our next guest on the podcast is Martin Forrest from CNC 101 and Connor from Coventry College. Welcome to the MTD Podcast, lads.
Hello.
How you doing? You well?
Thanks.
Connor, pleased to see you. I'm glad you've come on. Martin, good to see you.
Gio, right.
Just be about here when you talk.
Right, I'm going to start with you, Martin. Known you for many of years now.
Yeah.
Now, you started your business in the midst of a pandemic. It's a bit of a theme on this podcast, to be fair. You had a fantastic job, but you decided to go it alone in the midst of the pandemic. I'd take my hat off to you. Can you tell our audience about your business and what you do?
Yeah, so our company's called CNC 101. I did set up a year ago, and I provide services to people with CNC machines. So CNC machine tools, application support, programming, process development, anything like that. Also problem solving. So if a customer's got a machine that's not accurate enough, I can go in there and I can discover what's wrong, look at the parameters, that sort of thing. And also consultancy. Today I was walking around with a customer, they want to spend loads of money. So I went
That's
around.
always nice, that, isn't it?
Yeah. So they wanted to spend loads of money on.
A minute with you, Connor. Sorry, Mark.
So we went around a few machine tool builders and just kind of went through the pros and cons of each one, the control, the dynamics, the build, and yeah, interesting.
Brilliant. Connor, I'm good friends with your dad. I know you live in Nuneaton, where I do.
Is there anybody that you don't know?
There's a few people. But Connor, I mean, I want to learn about your business. I want you to tell our audience about your business, and then we can tell our audience how you want to spend your dad's inheritance.
So basically I joined the company in 2009 when I left school. I've been there ever since. It's been great, to be honest. I've learned a lot. Basically, our company is manufacturing college, Dean College, stuff like that. Obviously for
machines and stuff. But yeah, it's been great. I've learned a lot.
Is this your first Mac?
Yeah, it is actually my first Mac. Yeah, I've really enjoyed today.
A Mac Virgin, as they say.
A Mac, yeah. A Mac Virgin, yeah. So.
And what machine tools do you have on site at the minute? And what have you come to Mac for? Just to have a look around, or
basically we've got a lot of XYZ machine tools in our place. So yeah, we've got a lot of XYZs, and we're quite good with them, to be honest. And we've come to have a look today to what else is out there, to be honest. You know what I mean? Not just XYZ, it's just give us a wide range of see what else and open our eyes at other things, to be honest.
Martin, I'm just thinking about what you said about having, sort of working with these guys, giving a consultancy. The amount of information that you probably got to retain in reference to different machine tools, different processes. I presume you really need to know quite a lot to actually help a lot of customers.
So my previous role was at Yamazaki Mazak. When I first started in a kind of European group, a lot of what we did was look at the competitors.
How long were you at Mazak?
20 years.
20?
Yeah.
I mean, you left Mazak to start on your own during pandemic. This is a great story.
Yeah. And it's interesting how all the different machine tool builders have kind of grown and evolved, and it's great. You know what? I couldn't really find any bad machine, because they're all built into a level now that is fast, and the control is great, easy to use, and it's invigorating.
And for Mac, what's the highlight of Mac for you?
The highlight of Mac, actually, it sounds weird, but it's to see all the people that I know. I mean, of course, it's great to see new products, tooling, work holding, that kind of thing. It's all about the people. It's great to see all these people.
I think that's been the message, with
every single person.
Some of our guests on the podcast, but also, live streams that we've done and other videos. As everybody said, it's really nice to be out, and press the flesh again and walk, the NEC, and maybe not liking to pay the car park prices so much, but it's lovely to be together as a community. We all like manufacturing and we all love manufacturing.
I came by train, so I'm fine.
and I just want to go back to a point, really. How have you found business? You've only been going a year, and obviously what we've mentioned, we've had COVID. How have you found business?
Incredible. So when I first started, I had to write a business plan, and I had to put facts and figures in there, and I've exceeded that by 200%.
Wow,
it's incredible. What I'm finding is, and it's sad in one way, it's a lack of skill, and I'm reaping the rewards of that. But I just want more people to come through to know how to cut metal, and it's
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Connor, just a question for me, actually. I don't know much about your company. Are you manufacturing on site?
Yes, we manufacture on site. Yeah, we manufacture all collets on site, as well as some engineering. We're doing everything all on site.
And how's business been for you, Connor, during the pandemic? Are you still busy?
It's been tough, to be honest. The first year, it was very tough. There was only myself, my dad, who obviously owns a business, and Martin. We were working as a three somewhere. A lot of the other lads were on furlough, etc. It was tough for a couple of years. First year definitely was even a lot worse than the second year. But to be honest, we worked hard, working overtime, nights, Saturdays, Sundays, even some Sundays before we worked, just trying to keep the business going. To be honest, we've come out and we've seen the light.
That's one thing we're finding, isn't it? I think every company, or nearly every company, is either looking for salespeople, machinists, service engineers. It's lovely to see, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is. It is seeing obviously the growth, and obviously we've come out hopefully the worst end of it now, and looking up and going up with not just ourselves but other engineering companies around us, and obviously gone out of that bad patch, and then you're looking up to the future, and hopefully we can all grow together.
Now you're making your own product, and we've come out of one kind of crisis and going into another in a way. You're making your own product, and we were talking to Interco Special Steels and Alloys earlier. Obviously, the steel prices are going up all the time. Nickel prices are just going through the roof, and also then your delivery time, so on and so forth. Has that affected your business?
Massively, yeah, it has. Like, especially the steel prices. I mean, because we're getting one quote one day, and then like a few days later, it's completely different. It's just every day is different. So like a lot of our we get our materials off now, they're giving us like 2 or 3 days to quote on, and we're going back to our customers saying, actually, no, we now need to obviously up that quote from previous of the last few days.
Do you do the sort of gamble that my wife likes to do when she thinks that the diesel price is coming down, fill the car up? Do you actually sort of say, well, actually, should we go for it and buy a load of stock?
Oh, you say that, but we try and keep as much stock as we can in stock as possible. But as you know, it's quite hard because like you can only keep certain, especially when you're doing like different diameters of different steels. It's like
cash flow as well, I suppose.
Cash flow, exactly, yeah, correct. So you can't just keep like I don't know, say 20 mil diameter bar in it, because if you get like 80 mil bar in, it's I mean you'll keep going up.
And on the theme of cash, you know, we were having a conversation earlier, and we were talking about you spending your dad's inheritance. What happened there? I don't know.
Basically, that was just last 2 or 3 years.
He's put you on the spot here, isn't he?
No, basically the last 2 or 3 years, we does invested quite heavily. Well, to be honest with you, the last 10 years, invested quite heavily in machinery. We started with manual machines, like, and then we bought our first CNC like 10 years ago. And we've invested ever since, to be honest. The last 3 years, since obviously coming out of COVID, we realised what we need to spend money on and obviously upgrade our machinery. So we spent the last last couple of years, he's bought 3 or 4 new machines, so yeah, he's been spending more inheritance.
So are you starting to be a bit of a showroom for XYZ, are you?
I have been, yeah. No,
it's local to you, they've got a showroom in Nuneaton, haven't they? Perfect. And Martin, giving your company one last plug really, you're absolutely right, there is a skill shortage. How should people get in touch with you? How can they find your business online? Where should they go?
cnc-101.co.uk and Martin at cnc-101.co.uk. So have a look at the website, see my skills, and please get in touch. Yeah.
No, brilliant. Well, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the MTDCNC podcast. I hope you enjoy the rest of MACH. Connor, great to meet you today. It's been good to see a bit of a surprise. Good to see an Nuneaton lad on the MTD stand. We're not all that bad. I know the Rockwilers walk around in pairs in Nuneaton, but it's not that bad really. No. Our next guest.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks.
Cheers, man. Take care, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers, Joe. Our next guest on the MTD podcast, sponsored by Interco Special Steels and Alloys, is Will Chappell and Martin Page. So I don't know where they are. I think they may have run off, or they're at the bar. Oh, here we go.
Okay, we got Martin coming.
So here's Martin. He's Will Chappell.
Where do you want me? Come and sit here, Martin.
Martin, welcome to the MTD podcast.
Thank you, Gio. We'll be gentle with you, Martin.
Thank you very much.
Need to be right next to
waiting for Will.
Just right next to here. Wow.
Well, Will.
I thought I'd bring a few beers.
I was going to say, it's not that thirsty work being on a podcast, you know.
So I think I've got a hint about what you do here, Will.
It gives the game away.
I know what you do, Martin, and we'll come to you next, my friend. Will, tell our audience what you do, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. We produce modular and adaptable storage systems for the engineering workplace. They can be completely converted for any use, and thanks to our stand friends this afternoon, Datron, who kindly converted one of our inserts to hold beer.
Brilliant.
So are you making, dare I say, the cabinets for tool holders?
Cabinets, vertical storage, trolleys, that type of thing, organisational systems. So a standard cradle like this that will hold driven tooling, stick tooling, ISO, spindle tooling, anything you really want. As long as you can drill a hole in the insert, we can make it hold anything you like.
Okay.
So you're exhibiting at MACH.
Yes.
How long has the company been going?
We've been running 16 years. We started off as a subcontractor. We found this problem, and about 4 years ago we started to produce this product. We were meant to be here in 2020, and we're here now.
Brilliant. Now, Martin,
you've still got the back. You can have the
Yes, exactly.
Martin, grab yourself a beer.
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine, thank you, Gio. I'm out later, so I'll decline.
Well, we'll see each other later.
It's quality of people that have been on the stand have been very, very good. Some serious inquiries, taken orders. Actually sold a robot today.
That's fantastic.
Martin, could you just tell the audience that may not know your company, what your company is and what you actually do?
My company is Hydrofeed. We are predominantly known for short magazine bar feed systems. Over the past few years, we have expanded our expertise into all things machine tool automation. A few years ago, we had the opportunity to represent the RoboJob robot system, machine tool loading systems on both turning and milling, and we now have the agency for that, as well as for top automazioni for the full-length magazine bar feed. So we've expanded our expertise into long bar feeds, short ones, robots, but we've kept it to machine tool automation. We don't want to filter our expertise down anywhere.
Effectively, Martin, you're an automation specialist. You know, everything is automation, and you have been supplying automation for many years now. We've just been saying with previous guests and addressing the importance of automation, and how at this MACH, 4 years on from the last MACH, how every single machine tool provider is taking it so seriously now.
That has been the theme with many of the sub-ears and OEMs that have been onto the stand. It's everybody knows they have to do something, because there's been a forward leap in the uptake of automation on machine tools here in this country, and those people that have taken that leap are certainly reaping the benefits.
Now we're going to touch on a new product that you've launched at MACH shortly, but Will, can you talk us through your product portfolio for people that don't know your business, and give our audience a bit more of an indication about all of the products that you supply?
Certainly. So it's based around a core modular insert here and a cradle system that is completely interchangeable with all our other systems, whether it's cabinets, pull-out cassettes, trolleys, bench stands. So the customer is able to start with a very simple product and then expand that collection over a period of time.
If I'm honest with you, I'm glad that companies like you exist, because you can imagine the state of some workshops. Well, I've seen some in the past, but it's certainly and especially when you've got night shifts as well. Where's that tool holder? Where's this? It's very important, isn't it?
It is, and especially when you see, you see going to a workshop and you see stacked on the bottom of the bench or the floor tens of driven tool holders that are worth an awful lot of money. You do cringe, and you think they should be stored safely, correctly, and this is what this product is designed to do. You can see where it is, where it's not. Is it out in the shop or is it in storage? It's a way of, again, coming back to automation. We can integrate automation with this, so you can run robots. We can use you can use components, parts. So it's to cover the whole range of a workshop environment.
Talk us through the automation side. That really interests me, really. I think that again, it really fits in well with everything that we're discussing.
So where you see in small job shops, and you see these small robot systems being applied, you see a standby unit where parts can be loaded on, put into the machine, taken out again, but you're still double handling these. So with a system like this, you can go to your saw billet in there, go to your cradle, gets put onto your robot offloads, goes onto a trolley and back into storage. So it should be a seamless process without having to double, triple handle components.
And I would imagine that you get involved with probably every sector there is in manufacturing.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Martin, I think this is a perfect opportunity to tell us about your new product, and how has it been received at MACH?
Well, it's a new improved product. Going on from the theme from machine tool automation, one of the simpler products that we've had was a simple rotary parts conveyor, but we've developed our own one, which is made here in the UK. There's very innovative ideas been put into that from our own design shop in Milton Keynes, and we hope that it will reshore some of the manufacturing back here in the UK, because we are associated primarily with machine tool automation. This particular product is aimed squarely at that. We're not looking to put it elsewhere apart from taking finished components off of machine tools, storing, conveying, but we've put a lot of thought and effort into it to bring it back here and make it far more modular and able to suit a wide range of machine tools.
Martin, where do you get involved? Do you get involved when the customer has actually bought a machine, or do you get involved as an integrator with machine tool manufacturers?
We work with both, to be truthful. We're fortunate enough to be supplying virtually all the OEMs with their machine tool automation. We've worked very, very hard to become the Turn 2 company here in the UK for robotics and long magazine bar feeds, and keeping our profile where it needs to be has enabled those end users to come to us as well. And as a consequence, it's allowed us to break into all sorts of different markets and talk to different people about cross-section of applications that they need.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key, isn't it? Is that you have to keep evolving. You need new business to grow, don't you?
Absolutely, indeed you do. And as a consequence, I've seen my company that I've been with for goodness knows how many years change its ethos and...
Oh, there's another order.
There's another order. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The boss. That's the boss, yeah.
Was it the missus? Was
it?
Yeah,
it was, yeah. She left to stand earlier to tell me that she's probably got home safely, yeah. But
she's seen all those beers in front of you. That's what it was.
That's probably what she's seen. Yeah.
Can we tell them about? Can we tell our audience about the Belgium story?
No, we'd rather you didn't.
Did that involve alcohol by any chance?
It did, but we'll talk about that.
You can see that I'm not touching Will's beer. I'm not a big beer drinker, and Gio won't let me forget. We took MTDCNC out to Belgium, and their beer is considerably stronger than my system's used to, and it had a bad effect on me the next day.
So today I met a couple of your colleagues from Belgium walking the show when I was doing the Chester Machine Tool live, so it was great to catch up with them. It was an absolutely fantastic visit, and finally, Martin, with you, really, your company has grown significantly over the last few years. Yeah. You have really booked a trend. Can you tell our audience the kind of growth that you've seen?
In turnover, it's doubled.
Wow.
And most of that has been down to the robotic loading systems and the long magazine bar feeds. The short ones are our core product and will always remain to be very important to us. Because of that, we've had to drop off some of our more simpler equipment that we've been traditionally making to make way for what we're now doing. You were talking about earlier about integrating. We're now finding ourselves not only supplying the robots, but those companies that buy robots almost want us to handle the work holding, the auto door, the robot interface, so it becomes a whole go to Hydrofeed to get the whole system from us. Brilliant. And we're happy to do that.
Brilliant. Will, just out of interest though, is there a highlight that you've taken from MACH 2022 yourself?
I think the enthusiasm again after 4 years. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of buzz around the place. It's really good talking to people again. And even though the last few years has been very busy, it's good to actually see people again.
Well, it's been brilliant to meet you, and I wish you all of the success for the future. Martin, as always, I'm sure I'll bump into you again soon. Thank you both very, very much for joining us on the MTD podcast.
Thank you for reminding me.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you very much.
And we're not finished yet. Yet. Mark, we've still got 2 more guests.
Fantastic.
And maybe even more than that. So we've got Robin from Forgeal. Robin, pleased to meet you. And we've got Matt from MTD.
I thought I was finished work now, chaps.
Robin, can you tell our audience about your business? What do you do?
Absolutely. Well, we do CNC machine monitoring, but we do it in a slightly different way. So we're all about plug and play. So we can monitor any machine. We don't actually integrate with control systems, but we do it with current clamps. So we open up the electrical cabinets, stick a little sensor on there, and then, as I was just saying, anything which draws current, be it a £500,000 CNC machine or a kettle, we can monitor it and we can tell you what it does throughout the day and the night. And
when did this business start? Sorry, Mark. When did this business start?
So I used to work at the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, and it was my job to work with the machinists to help them improve their tool paths and the productivity of what they were doing. And so I would integrate with the control systems of the machines, give them that data to try and help them with their job. And I'd make dashboards and websites to display it. People would come around and they go, oh, actually, we could have that on our factory. And at the time, the answer was, well no, it's research. But actually, I met my co-founder, Chris, at the AMRC, and we spun out the business. And it's been 15 months since then.
Now, Matt, sorry to interrupt. Matt, we've known each other for a long, long time. We've got a passion for cycling, but can you tell the audience that you do have a background in engineering and also family involved as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, as personal assistant and spiritual guide to Mr. Albanese, that is. But no, I started out as an engineer, as an apprentice in automation, trying to figure out things like what you've done, albeit not quite as successfully as you have. But my entire family, back 3 or 4 generations, still are engineers, and I've turned to the dark side to make you pair look good.
He certainly does that.
Someone's got to do it, Matt.
But, I mean, what I love is, yes, I'm not hands-on with the engineering on a daily basis, but I get real great exposure hearing from the really innovative solutions from yourself, from many of the other companies and providers out there, and that really is just enough to keep my oar in, I think.
Your family are involved in the engineering sector. Can you tell them, the Robot Wars, is that your brother that runs the Robot Wars?
Yeah, so I mean, really, they'd probably be ideal customers, because on my father's business, which was started by my great-grandfather, that's dirty engineering, the stuff that we're trying to shape.
Nothing wrong with that, though.
No, exactly, but it's the stuff, it's the reason we struggle to get people in the industry. My father's only just painted the factory floors recently, but he does steel pressing work and plastic injection moulding, and that's, it's fair to say, it's a fairly dying industry at the moment. My brothers, on the other hand, have taken their childhood hobby, which was Robot Wars, and for them that meant taking their remote control cars, putting cardboard body shells on, and crashing them into each other in the garden. And now they ran the Robot Wars competition for the BBC, and they've just had a new machine installed yesterday, which is their 3rd CNC machine.
So was you playing around with cameras at the time when they were making their little cars then?
Well, I think I was playing with girls at that time.
That's
Robin, just a quick question for you. Yeah, absolutely. When did you start the business? So it's just take care on.
See you, Colin.
When did you start the business? How long ago did you start the business?
It was September 2020, so right in the belly of the pandemic.
Wow, and again, this is a running theme through this podcast. Now, obviously with Mr. Mac, so if you started your business 4 years ago, do you think you'd be getting the same success as you are now?
It's a hard. So the main thing that we've been forced to do is we have to serve all of our customers remotely, and so actually it's meant that you couldn't get in the car and drive up to see them on, do a big install. You have to be able to put it in a box and send it out to them and enable them to do it themselves, which has obviously been a big change for the way we do our business. But to be honest, it's been quite nice being here, because many of our customers we've been working with 6-9 months, and we've only ever seen them through the computer. But then actually, we've seen them here in person. It's been lovely to actually, look them in the eye, shake the hand, all that kind of good stuff.
So are you getting involved with customers that have already got machine tools and they've got issues, or do you tend to maybe work at the front end where there's a turnkey project from a machine tool company?
Yeah, no, it tends to be people who have a mix of machines on their shop floors. So your OEMs will have some really good machine monitoring software, but if it's just for their particular brand of CNC and you've got a very diverse shop floor, if you want one picture, it's kind of hard. So that's our kind of customer base. Yeah.
Now, Robin, you answered that question like a politician. Do you think that you would have been more successful then or now? Because I believe that the pandemic actually accelerated a business like yours with digitalisation, Industry 4.0, so on and so forth. It's the perfect time for your product, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's forced people to look inwards during the pandemic, because by definition, you go to work and you go home, and to be honest, that's it. And because of that, people are very much thinking about, well, actually, can I change things? And especially if things got a little bit quieter in the pandemic, and that actually gave people that little bit of breathing room and a bit of space to think about, well, can I do some continuous improvement? And that's really good.
And we're going to touch on in a minute about how important machine tool monitoring is. But first, Matt, how has it been working for MTD, and what have been your highlights of the week?
Oh, crikey. Oh, here we go.
Because you've been on a few stands, you've been doing most of the lives.
Yeah, and this is my, 5th, 6th year?
Don't ask Mark how many mats he's had.
Well, you can tell.
And during that time, I've got to see so much change, so much innovation, and every single show there is something that's really interesting to me. But actually, the stuff that I get most inspired by is the things similar to what you're doing there that can apply to everybody. I'm looking for the reduction in the entry barrier to help people get up and started, to take an old Bridgeport machine and apply new things to it.
Education?
Absolutely. And we look this year at the back end of the MACH hall, there are 6-7 stands, there's F1 in schools, which looks to be a really great initiative and bringing in the next generation of engineers.
And one thing Matt's is consistent with, I have to say, is that when you're just about to film and he's looking at something, it's either something very sexy in many senses, it just goes all quiet and you think, yeah, he's looking at something, I don't know what it is, but he's captured something there and he's off with his camera, and that's where it's at, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we're really fortunate to be able to do is poke our camera in places for the audience that you wouldn't ordinarily go. It's not the stuff that's in the magazine or in the press release. We get to open the cards and have a look. What's that bit round the back? And does that do what you're claiming it does? And that way we're finding some really great innovations that are helping productivity. And I mean, the gains that we're seeing, I think, are staggering in the last few years. Things I could never have really dreamt of, and God only knows where we're going to go with it.
I mean, did you say that you worked for the AMRC?
I used to, and then we spun out the business from there. Yeah.
Now I'm very fortunate that I went to the AMRC when it was built with Keith Ridgway, one of the founders, and I've always worried as soon as I put my foot over the door, I'm at a disadvantage. You've got 300 people, probably more now, that have got a PhD, and it's you get in there and there's all this technology flowing, there's all these NDAs that you can't be talking about, but some of the guys that have done very well, obviously like yourself, we've got a guy that works for us, Rowan. He's worked with the AMRC.
For us as well.
There you go. Yeah, sorry, I should have done a little bit of notes there. But from that point of view, isn't it great that we invest in a company in the time, and you're developing new products from it?
Well, I think that's the thing, is that there's a lot of exciting technology when you go to places like that, but being able to take them and then make them applicable for your average machine shop, where actually they might have sort of humble ambitions, and they might be not up with the latest and greatest, not because that's a bad thing, but just because they don't need to be. And so actually taking something where it might not be the absolute cutting edge of technology, but it's suitable for them, I really appreciate that.
Application specific. Easy
for you to say.
Can we just touch on machine tool monitoring now, kind of what made you see this gap in the market, and how important is it?
Well, for me, it goes back to it's the whole foundation of UK manufacturing, which is a bit of a statement. But so I grew up in the northeast, where I feel like
I couldn't tell.
No, you can't. My dad's from London, so we've got a balance. But and it felt like it was very much where industry was, and I think the reason is because the UK is great at innovation in manufacturing, but then when it comes to productivity, sometimes we can lose out. And so actually the technology we're doing is like, well, let's help manufacturers with their productivity by making them, it's that classic thing, work smarter, not harder. And that's, technology allows you to do that because you can be more focused on what you're going to go and do. So that's the motivation. And
I know we've got to move. I know we're going to move on, but I know we've asked this to all our guests actually. Is there one thing from each of you has stood out at MACH 2022?
Well, I have to go first, don't I? So, if I'm honest, it is this machine monitoring across the board. A few years ago, when Industry 4 was launched, it was more of a concept, and people were talking about Industry 4 as if it was an HD ready TV.
So they didn't really understand it or know what it was.
Exactly, and we didn't really see
talked like they knew what it was, but they didn't know.
But across the halls now, we're seeing collaboration happening. Big companies sharing stands because they realise the value across their Industry 4 and monitoring platforms to be truly collaborating to optimise productivity. And I think that has to be the way forward. And for me, that's the most exciting thing I've seen.
Was that the short answer?
How much is Robin paying you, by the way?
Depends how well he does. So,
how about yourself? something stands out with MACH 2022?
I think it would be along a similar line, that we're obviously in a section with all our competitors, and people are coming from one stand to the other and going, you know what, you guys which do which other people don't.
You're supposed to say all the handsome guys from MTD. That's what you're supposed to say.
There's not many of them, is there?
Touche.
But the one thing that, speaking to our competitors, we all agree on is actually we're all trying to educate and help people just be more productive, and we might do that in complementary ways, we might do that in competing ways, but actually the goal is actually the same, which gives us a lot of common ground. So I've enjoyed that, and I think the guys have enjoyed it too.
Well, brilliant, and thank you so much for both being on the MTD podcast,
guys.
Sponsored by Interco Special Steels and
Can I just
Alloys.
say one thing? Thanks for this week, Matt. You've really looked after us. We've had 12 live streams, and you've really supported us. So thank you very much.
No problem.
So, our last guests of the day, our very own Paul Jones, founder of MTDCNC, and Carl Creamer, editor of the MTD publication.
Editor, I can tell you that.
I've had a promotion.
He can certainly sell, but he can't write.
How you doing, chaps?
Very good. Yeah, you? Has it gone well?
Brilliant.
We're starting here next time round. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Next time round in 2024, we'll actually do this, but what we'll do is we'll have a speaker system so you can actually, so the audience can hear.
That would be brilliant. Great idea.
Because it's great to see, but you'll have to go back to watch it to hear what people are talking
this has been a great podcast because we've had guest after guest after guest after guest. I can't remember exactly the amount of guests we've had in an hour.
6.
But we've learned a lot about lots of different disciplines in engineering. But Carl, let's start with you. Really, you've not been on the MTD podcast yet, Matt. Have you had a good MACH? How has it changed from 4 years ago? And what have been your highlights?
We've still got a day to go, but it's been great. If you remember, 4 years was our first issue of MTD magazine. So what our message then 4 years ago was very different. It was a show issue, and then we got into the issue proper and the circulation proper. Excuse me, I'm a pig in shit, mate. This week has been fantastic. I know a lot of people have done this a long time, but waving the MTD flag with the best issue, best magazine, full stop. I'm so proud, and everybody's so receptive. I've had a great week and still got a day to go.
The other thing is, Carl, I suppose we have to be honest with ourselves. We're probably one of the longest reigning sort of sales guys on magazines. I mean, there's 60 odd years between us, isn't there? I'm afraid.
And I'm loving it. I'm enthusiastic now and then. A funny story. We were reminiscing and whatever. And Chris Pocket at Renishaw said, "Oh yeah, the day the stand built overnight, blah blah blah." Emo Hanover. And he went, "That was 2001." Well, I remember that like that was yesterday. It was 21 years ago.
Mate, so still looking good, Carl. Still looking good. Paul, what's been your highlights? I mean, I'm sure you've got many, but what really stands out for you about MACH 2022?
I think like Carl said, there's still a day to go. So lots can happen in a day, but 4 days so far. The halls have been busy. The stand has been fantastic. When we committed to the investment to do this, not having really the machine tool suppliers, metrology suppliers, tooling companies, they have a product to sell. They exhibit at MACH because they've got a physical, in most cases, product to sell. Our product is very much based around
it's a service.
The internet. It's a service. So looking at it and thinking, where's the value from our perspective? It was always going to be down to the stamp of the message that we put across about what we do and how we do it. And I've got to say, what we're doing here is the MTD podcast has all I've heard from other people I've spoken to is they've said that is a fantastic idea. Everything else we've done has been really good. The live streams, hats off to the guy guys in the back room. Will standing there that's been orchestrating everything.
Fantastic.
We've come up with and we've delivered on this show so far everything that we wanted to do with minimal. I think we've had 12 or 14 live streams, and we've only had 2 minutes of time of downtime in that's hours and hours of streaming, and that's quite incredible. If I'd have thought that at the start that was going to be the case, I would have been very happy with it. So
Paul, let me ask you a question. I mean, we've known each other for quite a while. Unfortunately for you, you know me. But when you take yourself back, when you took that jump from selling machine tools and thought, yeah, there's got to be a digital platform. You know, is it 15 years ago now?
Yeah, 2007,
would you have ever thought you'd be here now with the team that we've got doing what we're doing now?
Yes, I would, because that was always it was always a vision. You know, it was always that kind of this is. I didn't start out on it lightly. I wanted to make a big statement and develop a product that was going to work, and I've worked relentlessly, as you all know, as we all do, to make that happen. So, yeah, yes is the answer to your question. It's a good question.
So what's next, Paul? I mean, you know, I've had a lot of people today ask me, what can we do in America? What can we do in India? What can we do here?
So, our man in the States at the moment, he's been working for us for over a year now. He's been doing a fantastic job. Everybody speaks about
Tony.
Well done,
Tony. I'm sure you're listening,
yeah. And we're looking to replicate this at IMTS in September. So that will be something that I think, again, will make that real statement that this is not just a UK platform. It's a European, it's a global product. And Tony would be fantastic. So I'm sure he'll be out in the next few weeks talking to his clients, saying, you know, if you want a piece of what we've done here at MACH, then
really exciting times for MTDCNC and everyone involved. It's been brilliant. I mean, look, I've looked at the show, and because we've had that 2 years gap, if you like,
4 years.
Well, 2 years that we didn't do it. It's been an extra 2 years.
Right, sorry.
For me. And speaking to everyone, this has probably been the most important MACH ever. It had to be a success, you know, and the buzz around the show has been fantastic. You know, people are so upbeat, so positive, so happy, and that's exhibitors and the people and the people that are coming around looking at all these new technology. Everyone seems so positive. People seem to be, you know, so happy to invest, look at new technologies, albeit we're still going through another crisis with material shortages, a war. You know, we seem to be on a path, a real positive path for UK manufacturing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that this show has shown that. So, you know, roll on another 2 years and let's see where the world and the industry is in 2 years' time. But yeah, automation, digitisation, new technologies, it's a great place to see it. But I think what we've proved is that as much as we want people to come to MACH, you don't have to come to MACH if you can want to see technologies. You know, we can transport those messages via digital media as well. And I think collectively that goes together to get the show an even bigger audience, which is what they want.
Carl, you've obviously had 2 hips replaced, as we know. You're walking all these meters around the NEC. You know, was it 3 or 4 halls now? I can't remember, but. Anything stick out for you that you've seen that really sort of taking you back this week?
Lots. Whether it's machine tools, measurement software, lots. It's full of it. You know, and the thing is, we're all engineers. You know, we're all wanting to see, and the visitors. It's amazing. Last time, this time, what's new, how things have moved on. I think the design and feel, the aesthetics of the machine tool itself, in just 4 years, they looking better. The CM, everything about the whole thing.
Well, like we're looking better.
We're looking.
Carl always looks the same.
I don't know what mirror you're looking in. It doesn't look good.
We're looking so good this morning.
That's your eyesight, yeah.
But no, the whole shebang. This is the UK's biggest showcase. You know, whatever you think about exhibitions, this, that, and the other, this is our biggest showcase. Get behind it. Come here. This week has proven that there's still a need for it. And we all think digitally, yeah, we've got the ground covered. Our audience is massive. And I said this, we all know it. 4 o'clock tomorrow, there'll be a guy that goes onto whoever's stand and he'll want a demo. And you know what? He'll have the postcode will be wherever they're based, and he'll buy. And that's something that we don't provide. That's something that only the live exhibition provides. And how long may that continue? Yes, I want us to be massive and everything else, and we are massive, but that's sort of why a live show or why an exhibition, why go to MACH. And those are the sort of things that happen.
I'll tell you something that I've seen.
You need to wrap up after this question, Martin.
Yeah, sorry,
mate.
Just the one. One thing I've really noticed myself over the 15 shows that I've done, I don't think I've ever seen so many young learners come from school and also colleges and universities. They've all been here supporting this, actually learning it, touching it, feeling it, and they
Is that
behave
just because
themselves.
you're getting older?
No, they were in school uniform. Honest, but I think that's great, isn't it?
Well, one of the things I'd say is I've seen people, and I didn't get a chance to see Graham Maskell at happy retirement, Graham, but there's quite a few people that I've worked with over the years that have either just retired or retiring, and it makes you think, gee whiz, you know, these people were in their 40s when I first met them. So
I know. I went and seen Graham the other day, and I'm going to hook up with him even in his retirement. Looking forward to hook up with him out of work. But it's been a great show.
Are you going to try and sell him a coffee machine?
I'll try and sell him two. It's been a fantastic show so far, and there's still one day left. Tomorrow, the Swarf and Chips live tomorrow. Stay tuned to that. The MTD magazine, it's also a digital magazine.
Is there any left, Carl?
Amazingly, again, they're disappearing. It's great people physically coming, getting them, taking them. So yeah, we've still got a few copies left. Come tomorrow, grab a copy of the mag.
Great.
Sure.
And if we can help any of the viewers of this podcast in any way, don't be shy to give MTDCNC a call. We're happy to help in any way, shape and form that we possibly can. And like Paul said, Swarf and Chips live tomorrow. We're going to have a roundup of the show, so something really to look forward to. We're off now to the NTA dinner. We're a little bit late, but we will hopefully we'll arrive on time, and they'll keep it warm for us. But we hope you've enjoyed the MTD podcast live from MACH. It's something new, and long may they continue.